Good evening and thank you for joining us. There's good news from the Thunder Bay District Health Unit today. It's reporting just one new COVID-19 case, and for the first time since mid-January, there are no new infections in the Thunder Bay area. Today's case is a close contact infection from elsewhere in the district. There are, however, 3 new variant cases that have been detected. Those come from previously recorded cases, as it takes longer to positively identify the variants. In all, there have now been 3,097 total cases throughout the pandemic. There are now 63 active cases, which is down from 67 on Thursday. And a new outbreak has been declared among CP Rail staff. 2 people who work east of the Scriber Terrace Bay area have tested positive. They're both self-isolating. Thunder Bay Mayor Bill Morrow received his first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine this morning. The mayor caught up with our Avery McRae after his shot to chat about his experience, as well as the exciting news that by the end of May, all adults in the province will be eligible to receive their first dose.
Like many Thunder Bay residents before him and countless more to follow, Thunder Bay's 64-year-old mayor has received his first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Bill Morrow says the experience at the CLE Coliseum was seamless and had nothing but a positive experience.
This was an affirmation of everything that I've heard from people that have come to the CLE, that the situation is incredibly well organized and very professionally run. We were in, we were out. This is all helping us all to get to a point where we want to be in the not too distant future, hopefully.
The mayor gets his vaccine on the same day the Thunder Bay District Health Unit reports just one new case of COVID-19 from a district community. Marking the first time since January 18th, the city of Thunder Bay had no new cases. Now, the positive news does come with 3 new variants of concern. And while things are trending in a positive direction, the mayor doesn't want the population to get complacent quite yet.
We're all encouraged by more vaccine becoming available, by a larger percentage of the population becoming vaccinated. But I think we still need to be sure that we remind people to please be cautious and adhere to the public health guidelines, because we still need to wrestle this piece to the ground.
The Thunder Bay District Health Unit is now accepting vaccine appointments for anyone aged 55 and older. And throughout the month of May, more and more people will become eligible. Beginning the week of May 3rd, anyone aged 50 or older can register for their first dose. And the following week, anyone aged 40 will be eligible. Beginning May 17th, ages 30 and up can sign up, and by the May-long week, all adults in the province will be eligible to sign up for their vaccine.
We can meet that ability to get more shots into more people's arms as we drop down in the age categories and other people becoming available in the stage 2. That's all very encouraging, and we're moving in the right direction. But we need to get to at least 70%. But it's all encouraging. For sure, as the vaccines become available, we have the capacity, and that's good news.
Avery McRae, TBT News.
Thunder Bay Police are investigating a serious assault that took place in a residential Northwood neighborhood early this morning. Officers were dispatched to the area of Limbrick Street and Redwood Avenue just before 3 a.m. following a report of an injured male. Police believe the injuries are the result of an assault. The victim was transported to Thunder Bay Regional Hospital for treatment. A police spokesperson says the exact extent of the injuries is unknown, but they're believed to be life-threatening. Members of the Major Crimes Unit are now involved in the investigation. There's no word on whether any suspects have been identified. Police are asking for tips from the public and say further information will be provided when it's available. Thunder Bay City Councillors met with administration last night to try to find a way to move the stalled indoor turf facility forward. The project is currently in a state of procedural limbo after Council ratified a decision to move ahead with the facility, but then balked at the contract that would have required the city to pay nearly $46 million over 25 years to build it. The meeting wasn't about decisions, but suggestions. First, councillors mused about trimming back the infrastructure around the turf facility, perhaps reducing cost, perhaps just moving those expenses around.
In the inclusion of the price of the indoor turf was road rehabilitation leading up to the turf. Why would we not remove that piece and have it into our active transportation budget or a roads budget?
Then the conversation shifted to moving the facility altogether, perhaps attach it to a pre-existing recreational center.
Would we be able to save money by, teaming up with the Canada Games Complex having one point of entry.
But that's not an easy sell either.
By looking at the complex, we're starting from scratch. We are starting back to day one.
And changing course so drastically could mean a final decision doesn't get made during this term of council. Some eventually came around to the fact that compromises will have to be made.
Of course, a hard shell surface is great, but maybe we can't afford that right now. And maybe we do build a bubble.
No, it's not the ideal facility, but you know what? If I get hundreds of kids on the field before the end of term playing soccer in the winter, I think we've accomplished something.
But Councillor Rebecca Johnson insists nothing will change her mind, at least not in COVID times.
That is not a priority. Our residents, some of them can't afford to buy food. Some of them have no jobs anymore.
Some now wonder if the project has a path forward at all.
I'm a little bit disillusioned by the whole process. I don't understand how members of administration will be able to ascertain anything from this that would inform any kind of report at all.
And yet that's administration's task, to report back with options by the fall. Regional leaders had the opportunity to grill provincial ministers today as the Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association's annual conference came to a close. The Bear Pit session included a number of requests about funding and some infrastructure projects that regional politicians would like to see move forward. Corey Nordstrom has more.
Premier Doug Ford made a virtual appearance at the final day of the NOMA conference, noting some things his government has accomplished in the Northwest.
In December, Minister Mulroney, Minister Rickford, and Minister Fedeli released a draft transportation plan for Northern Ontario, which includes 60 actions that will build better and more connected transportation for the region, including twinning of the Highway 17 between Manitoba border and Kenora.
A Bear Pit Q&A session with 10 Conservative ministers also brought forth other highway twinning questions. NOMA President Wendy Landry read a question on behalf of Dryden Mayor Greg Wilson.
I wanted to ask if you are giving consideration to extending Highway number 17 twinning to include the section between Thunder Bay and Kenora, and what kind of time frame might be feasible.
We've done some long-term planning with respect to that section of the highway, looking at concept designs, looking at land that would be required, but we don't have a timeline that's associated with it at this time.
Prior to the pandemic, the provincial government had planned to combine dozens of health units, including the two in the Thunder Bay and Northwestern regions. After seeing how thinly stretched staff have been throughout the past year, Atikokan councillor Sally Burns wanted to know if the pandemic had changed the minds of these ministers.
Will the government be rethinking the modernization of public health and maintaining the same number of health units in Northern Ontario, and also maintaining percentages of provincial funding and municipal funding at status quo, given public health units are very significant and provincially coordinated role during this pandemic?
After the pandemic is over, I think we'll take an opportunity to get feedback from the health units and from municipal leaders and leverage some of the good ideas that were on the table. The status quo may not be the best route, so we'll take the opportunity to make a science-driven decision.
Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
COVID-19 cases continue to rise in the Northwestern Health Unit's catchment area, with 71 now active, and 1 in every 100 people in that region has now contracted COVID-19. 11 new cases were reported today, 6 in the Fort Frances region, 3 in the Kenora hub, and there's 1 new case in each of the Dryden and Sioux Lookout areas. Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kit Young-Hoon, wants the public to remember that 1 dose of a COVID vaccine doesn't mean you're fully protected, and they've seen some locals test positive after 1 dose. Additionally, some cases are spreading as people aren't staying home when they have symptoms.
Employees attending work when unwell is a concerning trend we're seeing over the past few weeks. We will be enforcing our Section 22 order and laying fines to individuals who attend work when having symptoms of COVID-19.
Young-Hoon urges employers to be flexible with their workers if they need to take time off to get tested, but she acknowledges the 3 days of sick leave offered by the province likely is not enough time to receive the test results. The Pikangikum First Nation has brought back the OPP after an impasse that lasted nearly 6 weeks. The chief and council expelled 10 officers on March 21st due to allegations of misconduct. That led to the government evacuating nurses from the community nightly, citing safety concerns. An agreement was reached with the OPP on Tuesday that involved officers being vetted by community leaders before being brought back on Wednesday night. They'll work alongside Pikangikum peacekeepers and train them with the goal of the community one day having its own police service. Parents in Thunder Bay are still wondering when kids can return to the classroom. Officials with the Lakehead and Catholic school boards haven't received any word yet from the province about whether non-hotspots might get the green light to reopen schools. TVT's Brianne Foley reports.
It's now become clear schools in Thunder Bay will not be going back to in-class learning anytime soon. Back on April 12th, the Ford government announced all schools would switch to virtual learning indefinitely after the spring break. Local schools have been closed since March 1st, and many parents were hoping their kids might be able to go back as early as next week. Catholic Board Chair Francis Venerus says not having any clear direction is tough on parents and staff.
Right now, I think the confusion is that May 3rd was the original date that we were supposed to go back, and then it got extended to May the 20th. And again, up to this point, we haven't heard anything.
The way I understood it for schools, it was an indefinite. They didn't give us an end date. When they've done a full province closure, they haven't opened up regionally. But all I can say is I don't know.
I would like to see schools reopen for in-person learning at some point before the end of the year.
Earlier this week, medical officer Dr. Janet DeMille said the issue of when schools might reopen is very complicated.
And I think with the variants of concern being present and that more, I think more information and evidence is being gathered about the school setting and reopening in these times.
Last week, a petition was started calling for area schools to reopen for the sake of mental health for both kids and their families. COVID numbers remain low in the Thunder Bay area, but Lakehead Board Chair Ellen Chambers agrees with DeMille that the variants of concern are causing uncertainty.
The new variant is, as you can see, if it takes hold, it's extremely difficult. So it's not a matter of our numbers are down. It is a matter of a giant big picture.
They're also very concerned with this variant that they're talking about and how it can turn things around immediately. So, again, we just have to listen to what the public health officials are telling us.
I will say we all want our children back in school as soon as they can be under safe conditions.
The growing concerns in education is not only the children's ability to focus in an online virtual setting. Chambers says it appears that more and more students are becoming disengaged from learning as well. Brianne Foley, TBT News.
Synergy North has named its new president and CEO. Tim Wilson has been tagged as the replacement for Rob Mace, who announced his retirement earlier this month after 30 years with the utility and 18 in the top job. Wilson has been with Synergy North since 2001 and has served as Executive Vice President of Customer and Information Services since 2019. He says he looks forward to continuing to serve Thunder Bay and Kenora.
Doing so in a safe, reliable, and trusted manner, which is something that we're known for. And, we can't do this without our hardworking, dedicated employees. I might be the new person, sitting in the chair and at the helm, but it's our staff that allow us to really operate the company to power people's, customers' lives and businesses. So, that's really what we're all about. Fundamentally, nothing's changing. That's who we are, and that's who we're going to continue to be, and that's to provide value for customers on electricity delivery in the two communities.
Wilson officially takes over upon Mace's retirement on May 21st. The Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Foundation has announced the latest jackpot winner as it wrapped up the third installment of the popular 50-50 draw. The grand prize for the month of April was more than $634,000, and the winning ticket was purchased by Lance Dill, the Director of Corporate Services for the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. Dill received the exciting phone call this afternoon from Hospital Foundation CEO Glenn Craig.
$634,240.
Sorry, is this a joke?
No.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
The Thunder Bay 50/50 draw has now raised more than $2.2 million to help fund vital medical equipment for the regional hospital. Next month's 50/50 has already started, and tickets can be purchased online. The next draw will take place on May 28th. Lance is someone that us here in the media deal with quite frequently, so congratulations to him.
Nothing but clear skies for Lance. I never won, but Fiona, I got my dose of clear skies today. We'll just go with that.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful day. Absolutely gorgeous. A low of 0, a high of 14. That's about right on the money for this time of year. And that's despite winds from the northwest, a little bit, we'll call it moderate for the most part. 19 up to 39 kilometers per hour. Across the region, sunshine for everyone. It was a little bit cooler last night in most areas. They dropped by about a handful of degrees below the freezing mark, as was the case in Fort Frances, but they've rebounded also up to 14, 13 in Atikokan, 12 for Upsala and Dryden. So all around the seasonal values. As you head further north, a little bit cooler, but still in the double digits for Red Lake and Sioux Lookout and Armstrong. Pickle Lake at this hour is at 9 Celsius. And Greenstone matching that under sunny skies, 10 in Marathon. Sault Ste. Marie, ironically, it's usually one of the warmer spots, one of the cooler spots today, though, 8 Celsius at this hour under sunny skies, and that's about as warm as it's gotten. Now, tonight in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to see the return of some rain overnight. Now, it's also going to be quite mild, above the freezing mark at 4 Celsius. And that's how we're going to start our weekend. Definitely a wet start. Then we've got a very warm Saturday on the way. Unfortunately, if you really like those high temperatures, Sunday's going to be a bit of a disappointment. We've got a cool down on the way. I'll have more details later on in the news hour.
Thanks a lot, Fiona. Ontario Premier Doug Ford continues to push the federal government to implement tougher border restrictions. We'll have that and more as your Friday News Hour continues.
Ontario is the only province requesting this. We're happy to work more narrowly with them.